calling to order the CUSD 201 regular meeting of the Board of Education for January 27th, 2026. Roll call, please.
Leah Conover.
Here.
Heather Franklin.
Here.
Carlos Avia.
Here.
Timothy Orman.
Here.
Adina Hoover.
Here.
Kevin Marin.
Here.
Alexandria Mill.
Here. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session to discuss specific employees.
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Miss Mill.
Yes.
Mr. Marin.
Yes.
Mr. Orman.
Yes.
Mr. Avia.
Yes.
Dr. Hoover.
Yes.
Miss Franklin.
Yes.
Miss Conover.
Yes. Motion passes.
Are you back in?
Push the button.
Push the button.
Kevin, take notes.
We're going to go right into public comment. We do have a couple public comments tonight, so I will read the guidelines. Good evening and welcome. Public comment is a time for the community to address the board with comments and questions. Each community member addressing the board has 5 minutes. Once you've been notified your time is up, kindly step away from the podium. Public comment will be for 30 minutes with no more than each subject lasting 20 minutes. Please understand this is not an engagement time. The board will consider your comments in its decision. For those comments or questions requiring a follow-up response, the board president or superintendent will follow up. First public comment is Courtney Templeton.
Good evening. I am Courtney Templeton. I am a teacher at Westmont High School. I'm joined by some of my fabulous students here. And I would like to read a letter composed by a group of us on behalf of Larissa Zalisco, Lori Erasmus, and Jamie Mahmood. Dear CUSD 201 board members, district administrators, and community members. We would like to respond to the public comments made at the last board meeting on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026, regarding the new electronic sign proposed for Westmont High School. Thank you to everyone who shared their feedback. As educators at WHS, we value all members of our Westmont community and are grateful that those members who spoke at the last board meeting want to support WHS students, as well as the legacy of Jerry Hackbrush. As high school educators, we worked on this application for the Hackbrush Trust for the past year and a half in our spare time. We completed extensive research, organized data for the benefit of our students. We want our students to be proud of their high school as well as their own personal academic awards. Posting these recognitions is just one way for us to highlight current Westmont High School students, inspire future Westmont High School students, and offer an opportunity for families to celebrate their students' amazing accomplishments. It is also an important advertising opportunity for students and families to be aware of upcoming academic events, such as the incoming 9th grade night and the National Honor Society induction ceremony. Jerry Hackbrush was one of the NHS sponsors throughout her career, and as Lori Erasmus, Jerry's former student and current Westmont High School science teacher, shared at the last board meeting, Jerry constantly spoke about how outdated our signboard was in front of the high school. Even back then, it was frustrating to her that multiple messages couldn't be shared quickly, and that was 30 years ago. What better way to honor Jerry Hackbrush than to affix her name to a new electronic signboard in front of Westmont High School? It is an electronic signboard that she would have been proud to have in front of the school that she loved so much. The grant that Jerry Hackbrush left was for Westmont High School. Even though she was a science teacher, she did not specify that it needed to be used for the science department. She wanted it to benefit all students at Westmont High School. We have the full support of all WHS teachers, including the entire science department. This electronic signboard is important to all of us. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to share this additional information. We really appreciate your support. Courtney Templeton, English teacher, NHS advisor, Westmont resident, and parent of 2 WHS graduates, Jerry Hackbrush applicant, Larissa Zalisco, counseling department coordinator, school counselor, WTA representative, and Jerry Hackbrush applicant, Lori Erasmus, science teacher, graduate and student of Jerry Hackbrush and the Jerry Hackbrush grant coordinator, and Jamie Mahmood, special education teacher, WHS graduate and student of Jerry Hackbrush and the Jerry Hackbrush grant coordinator. I thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Gail Zielinski.
Good evening. My name is Gail Zielinski-Reed. My children came up through CUSD 201, starting with Manning, going through the junior high school, and graduating the high school in 21 and 2022. They now go to school out of state, but I still live here. I'm an Oakwood resident. I live a stone's throw away from the high school, along with 400 other houses in that neighborhood. I drive through the area all the time. I run through the neighborhoods when I'm given the opportunity and my knee allows me to. And I walk my dog on the sidewalks, especially now since the maintenance department does such a good job of keeping those sidewalks clear. I need to know when a craft fair is going on, when AP teachers are descending on the area, when there's a track meet, a basketball tournament, an elementary concert performance. Those are important for me to know as I organize my life in that area. It's common courtesy to inform if there's a means and opportunity to improve communication and educate the community about the goings-on there. I ask that you move forward and allow that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into our approval of minutes, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 20...
Hold on 1 second.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't have
Where's
one.
it? Sorry, I don't have it.
I'm sorry. Come on up. Apologies, I didn't have one for
Sorry,
you.
Judy. I know.
I do not have one, no. Come on up, Judy.
Oh, there it is, sorry.
Judy Wilson.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm a 51-year resident of Westmont. I'm very vested in the community and to the schools as well. I spoke at the last board meeting. I think you all know how I feel about the hack brush sign. Had I been contacted, as you say at the beginning, I probably wouldn't have had to be here tonight, but since I wasn't, here I am. I realize that there's a lot of support for the hack brush sign. I realize that in their trust writing, I realize that it gets a little mushy, if you will, after the education part. So I realize that that probably is a loophole that you can use to purchase the sign. And I'm sure it's going to be a resounding yes tonight, but I would like to respectfully suggest that you find a small place on this sign to honor Jerry Hackbrush, either donated by or funded by, just so she gets that recognition. She's very beloved in the community, not only for the students that she had, the parents, and she's also had her students' kids as well. I really feel Jerry deserves that recognition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judy, there wasn't any information to reach out to you with, that's why you were not. There wasn't any information to reach out to you with, that's why we didn't. No, there wasn't any new information to give you because we're discussing it tonight. That's why we didn't. Okay, approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the January 13th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the January 13th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving into the consent agenda, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations, resignation. Number 2, approval of additional December 2025 expenditure report. Number 3, approval of the January 2026 expenditure report. Number 4, ratification of the December 2025 regular payroll. Number 5, approval of title change.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Marin.
Yes.
Mr. Horman.
Yes.
Mr. Avia.
Yes.
Dr. Hoover.
Yes.
Ms. Franklin.
Yes.
Ms. Conover.
Yes.
Ms. Mill.
Yes.
Motion passes. Information and discussion. First up, presentation of our monthly financial statements for December.
Thank you, members of the board. Dr. Balderman. So as of right now, with the district, we are actually looking at an operating fund that is currently balanced at this given time, considering the fact that we've had a lot of different challenges. For example, the mandated categorical funds from the state of Illinois have not come in completely just yet, so we are actually only received approximately 32% of what we were planning for with the revenues in that regard. We also met with our investment firm, which was Fifth Third, and we actually reinvested and laddered our dollar amounts over the next 5 years, so then the money can continue building and growing for us. We continue to monitor meetings with our staff. Dr. Balderman and I are looking at making sure that we can keep our education to be top-notch while at the same time being fiscally efficient in ensuring that we do have a sustainable program. The way you kind of think about it is the education is great. That's what we look for. This is the first thing we are for. But the finances are like the gas to kind of run the car, and you need it in order to run an education. So we are doing what we can to make sure that that is going as is. Next month, we will have our finance facilities meeting, so we can actually look at different options, plans, ways to continue to be working to be balanced and to obtain optimal ratings with the state of Illinois.
Comments, questions?
None.
Okey dokey. Moving on to the sign, Westmont High School sign. So we opted to table this from our last meeting, and since then we wanted to gather some more information from the legal team and dig into it in a little bit more detail. Ron, can you kind of review what the lawyers?
Absolutely. Let me pull it up. I apologize. So we reached out with Hodges Luigi, I apologize. So our attorney, his name is Stephen Reichert, and his information is what he says. Here it is. As a follow-up note, when the board accepted the gift in 2019, it really was without much restriction other than use at the high school for educational purposes in the board's and district's judgment. So he said, thus, the money truly is the board's money. The district's decision to use a committee to supervise and recommend uses of the funds is revocable by the board as far as I can tell. In my opinion, purchasing a sign for the high school qualifies as a use for educational purposes from a legal standpoint. The board just has to approve the use of the fund. Thank you, Steve.
So, I don't know that necessarily made it a heck of a lot easier, but it did, what it did give us is a little bit of clarity. The committee approval of the sign as being an educational fund is not a legally binding situation. We accepted all of these funds in 2019. And so these funds are the funds of the district. So it is not a situation where we are approving a individual donation. We already accepted the donation. So this is not as clear cut as, hey, we are just writing the check because the trustees of the fund essentially said, okay, this is an educational situation. It's not necessarily that we are also saying we need to decide if it is an educational expense or not, but we do need to. These are the funds of the district, and they are the funds of the board. So it is not the same. We need to discuss it in that way.
And so from my understanding, was that the question that the board was concerned about? Like making sure we answer, because I felt like it was answered, but I want to make sure that for everyone here that answered the question.
From my standpoint, it very much was. Like, my question at the last board meeting was, if the committee has made, because in my mind, it was at the time, and before understanding what the lawyers explained to us, it was the committee that makes the recommendation on the use of the funds, and that's how the trust was set up, right? That's how the donation was made, but it's not. What we've learned since then is that's not how. The donation was made in its entirety on December, whatever it was, 2019. That's what we've learned, right? And there wasn't, the committee isn't even mentioned, right, in that. What it says is that the board decides what to do with that money, as long as it's
But
for
we
an educational
decide-
purpose.
It says we decided that a committee is formed to
Correct.
give the recommendation, and we can revoke that. But
That's right.
they are doing the work of it.
And may I add too, I apologize for interrupting, the attorney is stating that from the legal perspective, it does qualify as a use for educational purposes. That was, I think, part of the issue as well.
And wasn't there something about the amount or something,
No.
like some special?
I think initially, when this discussion came up, we were talking about because it was over a certain amount, but I don't think that with the new information that we got, that was really a discussion that needs to be had anymore, because I think it's whatever amount is, we still have to approve that
Well-
expenditure.
No, I think if it's under is it 25,000 is the threshold?
No, it's 35 now, but it being a technological piece, it is exempt from that. And this is a company that has been used with the junior high and other buildings.
Yeah, I mean, if someone were recommending a $500 use of the hack brush fund,
It wouldn't ever-
we
it wouldn't-
wouldn't make it to this meeting.
Right.
Well, but I don't think I think the documents that I read don't say that. It says that the board has to approve the
Doesn't
use
say
of
it
the
has to.
funds.
It doesn't say that. It says the board can use the funds for whatever the board decides they want to use it for.
I think regardless,
determine-
it's over
to
the
determine the
$35,000
appropriate-
threshold, so no matter what, it would have come to us, and if we need to solve this for the future, we'll get clarification.
Yeah.
What we are talking about now is over the $35,000 threshold, so regardless, we need to approve it. Or we need to discuss it and approve it.
That was the
so.
amount discussion.
The attorney.
That amount was not tied to the Hackbrush thing, that amount was tied to just school financing.
Donation.
Yeah, and the attorney did say that falls under the exemption of that cap because of it being a technological piece.
I think the clarification asked of the lawyers was out of protection of us, and I think that was clarified tonight.
I just think it's good practice because of the dollar amount to seek approval.
So with that clarification from the lawyers, for me, this is a not now.
This is a what?
This is a not now for me, personally. I don't think that spending a significant amount of our funds, that are district funds, on something that is a want and not a need, right now, is the right choice. We are in a different financial situation than we were last year, and we cannot make the same choices that we would have made last year and previous years. And I think that until we solve a plan and have a plan to solve our facilities issues at our other schools that are significant, that I'm not super interested in spending significant amounts of money on other schools right now. I think that we have to have a solution in place, money that, frankly, every dollar matters now. This is a significant amount of money. We do need new science labs. We need work on the science labs at the school, regardless of Jerry Hackbrush having been a science teacher. That is the need that we need at the school. The signboard is a want, and I don't like making that call. I don't like saying this. And also, we are not in a financial situation or a facilities situation, in my opinion, to go for the wants right now until we have solved for the needs, and we have not done that.
Well, okay.
My question is, so we were already given the money, is what you're saying. But if we're not spending it on the signboard, doesn't that go against what the money was earmarked for? Like, the trust gave us the money,
We still need to.
saying that it was for the
Yep.
signboard, so.
I'm not saying use the money at another school. I am saying that the high school had needs on that referendum as well, and that money is part of our calculation and our planning for our overall facility needs.
And I agree with you. However, I would argue that if the trust knew that this money was not going to be used for the signboard, they might not have given it to us, right? Like, the application was.
How it's written
No.
now.
No, but
The
I,
money, the trust gave us the money in 2019.
All of it?
That
all at
was
once?
when
All of it, all
that
at
was when the donation was made. So the trust did not, And unfortunately, I know all about this because I'm setting up sub-trusts after my mom passed away, closing her estate right now. The trust did not stipulate that there's a sub-trust created for this money. It donated the money to the district. And then that was the end of the trust's overview over it, essentially. So
So then why do they even have to do the whole process of applying for
that is something that we've added, that we chose. We chose to add a committee to do this work and decide where the money would go. But it is not a legal requirement of spending the money.
My question is, who's on the committee then that made a decision to approve the signboard? Like, who approved the signboard
Well, I don't
in
think
this
it's an approval. I
subcommittee
think it's a
thing?
recommendation to the board
It is a
to
recommendation.
spend the money.
Well, right, so who's on that committee that
It was
recommended
listed
it?
by our speaker.
It's in this presentation.
Yeah.
It's in this presentation.
And so if I can speak, I respectfully disagree. In 2019, we had facilities problems. And at that time, it could have been said, and we can all talk about what's intended and what it was set up for. It could have clearly been said, we didn't pass previous referendums. This goes to all facilities. It was not said. It was given with the understanding that the board is in charge of this fund, and it was given to that. And at that time, I wasn't here at that time, but it was set up that a committee would take a look at things and see, what was needed, wanted, what was wanted, what have you, that it would be looked into and set up and then given a recommendation to the board, whoever's sitting on it. And I respect what was done by that committee. Yes, I'd also respect what a board member wants to vote for and against, but I respect the time that was put into that to give for all of the decisions. We have it listed here in our board docs, what was done in the past, what is recommended now. And I don't think we get other donations. We don't hold those donations and say, well, we're going to wait and see what's going to be done at Manning and what we're going to do at Miller. And because we're still going to have to work to do that. I don't think $35,000, $50,000 is going to solve our facilities problem. That's a whole other issue. We can do some things while we're working on others. So I don't feel like we should put that constraint on us, that we don't, because if that's the thought, I feel like we're going to be holding off on many things, many items that are very important on our list. We have a lot of work to do for our facilities. So I think we can do small things. I think we can recognize what's been recommended. Or if the board wants to take that away, as Ron stated, we can revoke that and not have a committee working on this. We have to do the work that way if the board so chooses, but.
And Leah, to address your point, what if this was an application or a recommendation to buy tables for a science room? I mean, I think that I don't think this is any different than if it was a recommendation to buy tables for a science room. So and that could be a want, but it's still an educational purpose, and I think it's an important educational purpose. So
I think that doesn't change my stance today, because again, for me, it's not a not ever, it's a not now. It is we said that we need science labs at the high school. We've said that we need them, and we need to update science labs at the high school. And that also cannot be part of, if we're not going to get a referendum passed, and we're not going to get that's not health and safety, it's not anything else. And every $100,000 matters and needs to be part of the planning for that before we decide it. So I think that for me, again, if it was science tables today, it would still be a no, because it's not the whole thing. And this is how we got here. In my opinion, this is a bit of how we got here. We were like, we're not going to be able to solve it all the way, so let's not solve it. And we did it at the other schools. To devastating outcomes and massive things that that are just going to be really, really hard to solve and are going to require a lot of really uncomfortable discussions and decisions. But I think that we have to, every $10 matters right now as part of the overall facilities planning for the district. The high school does need ongoing work, so does the junior high, Manning, Miller, so they all have maintenance and work that needs to happen. And what we've tasked the administration with is creating that plan to get that work done, to make sure that our kids in all of our schools are in safe environments and environments that are great for learning. So again, it's not a no, it is a not now. I think that we need to complete that work, and we need to make the difficult decision of let's complete that work and let's create a plan for it. Does this money fit into solving some of the issues at the high school in a way that we can't in other ways, right? Complete the work, complete the planning, and then make a decision.
I think that's oversimplified, because complete the work maybe 10 years from now.
Not the, complete
I'm
the
sorry.
work of the planning, not the actual facilities work, but we have tasked the administration with solving this facilities problem. We've said we were going to solve this facilities problem, and we've tried quite a lot of things to solve the facilities problem, and we're in a not great situation, and we need to make some uncomfortable decisions. And for me, every dollar matters, and is part of that calculation for me.
I just don't agree that a donation is saying, like, we get donations and say don't spend it because we haven't solved
I think that
problems. So I just don't agree with it. So.
receiving this donation for educational purpose and then by recommendation of the committee feels right to me, as opposed to using it for facilities. That feels like we were a little weary on even using it for a sign because of the language written into the trust. Then to pivot so hard into using it for facilities also feels a little iffy to me.
Again, I'm not saying use
Right.
it for facilities. I'm saying finish the planning, do that work before we decide. And if it is to be used for part of the facilities that we've said that we've needed, rock on. I'm saying finish that work.
So, how much money did we receive in 2019 under the Hack Rush Trust?
$250,000.
And so how much is left?
At least 200?
I would say after the expenditure of this sign, it's going to be okay, Courtney has a number. So, we made some interest on this money. These are accurate. This is good news.
That is.
And I think there was an initial donation of $250, but then there was a subsequent donation. And so there's currently $289,531.41. To date, we've spent $20,753.88. This ask is in the neighborhood of $47,000.
So I guess this is hard, right? So I get that the sign is outdated and we want new, and of course we always want what's best for the school and the district, but hearing Leah talk, and this is actually part of why I ran to be on this board, is that we have a finance problem, right? And so we will not be passing a referendum in this community. That's just like it's obvious that it is not going to pass. And so what do? We talked at the last meeting about the fact that even if we go with the bare minimum option of just fixing the bare minimum things that need to be fixed, we still are missing $3 million. So when we look at that overarchingly, right, across all five schools, I do think that when we're looking at, do we want, take science out of it, do we need new laptops for students versus a sign board for a high school? I think that is an important distinguish. So if we have $200,000, and I get it's only $47,000 of it, but that's $47,000 that could be used in another way. Does that provide extra curriculum for students? Does that provide extra technology for students? There's other things besides facilities that money can be used for in an educational purpose. And so, when we went to that conference downtown, I went to the conference where the school failed 2 referendums in a row. And do you know what that school had to do to finally pass a referendum? They had to cut all of their after-school activities. There was no band, there was no sports, there was nothing. And they had to cut it for at least a year for the community to come out and then finally vote for a referendum. So Leah's point that there's going to have to be very hard decisions that are made in order to just keep our schools going, that's what we're talking about at this February finance facility. That's why we want the community to come out, because we're at the point where a referendum is not being passed and we have to do something. And I get it, it's only $47,000, but like, that's also a lot of money.
Capitalizing interest. If you do nothing, the money continues to grow.
I just, go ahead, I'm sorry, I don't know if you've.
I think that, like, don't get me wrong, I would love a new signboard. I think that's really cool and awesome. I think there's a lot of benefits to that. I absolutely think that. But in terms of the grand scheme of what is the overall goal of the school board and what is the overall function and goal of a school, the signboard is lower on my list than other things that need to be a priority. I
just don't think we should use this sign as saying that we're not responsible. This money wasn't put into our overall budget. That's not what the money was for. Yes, it's going to be some wants and needs and benefits to that. I just think we have to be careful. I understand there are things that we're going to, many hard decisions that we're going to have to make. I don't think the sign is unfavorable with that. We're going to do that regardless we get the sign or not. And it's not a just $47,000 thing. What are we saying? We can't do any small improvements, or we have things in here that we're going to discuss the track team. Should we not do that because we haven't solved it? We have boosters that are working hard to do things. Should we say, no, we don't want any of that because we haven't solved our large issue that the board has to solve? That's not what the money was put for. Again, 2019, wasn't a new concept. We had issues then. And if that was the case, I think they're responsible to say this goes into a facility to grow and get interest to use maybe one day to solve help the board solve their problem to run their district. That's not what it was. So I want to be careful in that. Yes, we can have 2 things at once that are happening at once, my opinion. And it's not, I'll add another caveat to this. We have people that come to our schools. We have an AP conference coming. And impressions are a big thing to get help and get sponsors. There's so much that we can do with this and putting our best foot forward. Do we have problems? We're not hiding that. I don't think it's a detriment that we have this, but we have people that come to our schools all the times. We want to hold meetings and conference and tournaments. And that's something, you turn that corner and that's one of the first things you see. So I think there's so many other uses that way that we get a benefit from. Even the people that say we're not doing, there are naysayers that say we're not doing enough with education-wise, and we highlight that. We have elementary school and parents-to-be that come to our high school that hear great things and why they should keep their kids in our district to come. There's so much more that we get out of that to even highlight. We have an issue with our facilities. Come to me. I just think there's just so much more, and to cut it down this way, and how are we really adding to that? So that's just my thing. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand with this, make this an example to say no. Because for this,
I'm not saying make it an example. I am saying that this is one of many tough decisions that we will have to make.
It's just my point, Leah. That's why I don't agree. So that's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying make it an example.
Yeah. That's what
You brought up the thing we're talking about later about the sports. Actually, what I was going to bring up in that conversation was that I don't think that that's what the money should be spent on.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when we're looking at what is the point of a school,
Mm-hmm.
what is the point of what we do as a school board, it is to educate children. All those extras are great, and I'm a teacher, I'm a parent, I love all of those things, right? But when we talk about what has to go first, It's not, I don't want to be cutting staff. I don't want to be cutting supplies to our teachers. I don't want to be cutting corners in that aspect. I don't want to get rid of an SLP and have them run around from school to school. But in the reality is, if we can't solve the issues that we have, those are things that are going to have to get cut. And so I would argue that, the money that we're being earmarked for from different representatives, I don't think it should be going to sports first. Again, not saying that those things aren't important or those things don't need to be fixed. I think those are really important parts of a whole educational experience, but our job is to educate students. And so I think we need to have facilities that allow for that. We need to have heating systems that allow for that. We need to have whatever updates we need to have to classrooms, getting rid of asbestos, whatever it is, keeping our staff, and then we move outside of that to things like sports, clubs, a signboard.
And so with that,
That's
we
just my
have to
opinion.
say as a board not to accept donations. Because someone says, I'm
Oh, you're
donating.
taking that really far,
No,
Adina.
let
You're
me
taking
speak.
it to the extreme.
Well, we are taking this to the extreme. We can't do a $47,000 sign because it shows that we're not responsible. I think that's an extreme. But I'm just saying, we have to, if someone's earmarking something, we can ask that donation, hey, that person donating title, trust, hey, we're really concentrating on fixing our facilities, and you're donating more money for this reason. And we get donations from our sports. We can say, hey, we feel like we need it for these types of things, so we can't use that money for that. I think we have to be careful and say that, because we're getting money and then we're saying, hey, let's not spend it, or we can't accept that, because we have to solve this problem and we're not going to use it right now. And we can be honest and do that. I'm just saying, just be careful what we're saying and what we're doing.
This one is last meeting we got mats. That's clearly going to be used in a sports aspect. We're not getting a donation of mats to use in a science class. This donation, from reading the wording, is for educational purposes. And I think what some people on the board are saying, at least I'll speak for myself only, a sign, again,
You're saying it's not educational. Some
I think
people
it's a
think
little bit of a stretch to make it as an educational
And some
purpose.
people think they are, so.
Whereas I would rather see it used for other areas of educational needs, because there's got to be other areas of educational need that we aren't funding because we do have a finance problem. And it's not just a facilities problem, it's a finance in general problem.
Isn't that what the committee was
Right.
asked to do and make the recommendations?
The committee-
And they were asked to make a recommendation of what is an educational purpose, and they did that.
And they came to us, and I can't remember if you were here, but that was not my question. I didn't say to the committee, I don't feel like, and I don't think we as a board said to them, we don't feel like this is warranted. No, because we could have asked and told them that. We did not. So I'm just saying, we have to, if we are going to do that, we need to say it when they're here. That committee that was tasked to go out, find reasonable examples, give us the reasons why you are recommending this, and we can tell them no at the time. We did not, as a board.
To be clear, my understanding last meeting was
Not
that...
the lab, I'm talking about when they presented. That's all I'm saying.
I was there too.
Okay.
I did not know that we had gotten the money in 2019. I thought we had applied for this money. That is new. The trust approved it, and then we were then going to receive it. So I was not under the understanding that we already had this money, and we were just that people in CUSD 201 were the ones making that decision. My understanding was not that it was within our own district, the people making the decision. I thought it was a separate entity of this trust of, the family, I don't know who, that was making that decision then, and they called it educational. Because we did bring up that it might be a stretch that it's educational at last meeting. And but my understanding was that it wasn't up for us to decide that. Now we're coming here today and saying that it is actually up to us to decide if it's educational or not, right? That's what this whole thing is about.
Well, we invoked the committee to come and tell us.
The attorneys determined that it was.
Right.
It is educational. It's up to us to decide if we want to spend the money. Again,
Thank you.
I'm saying not now. I'm not saying not ever. I'm saying not now. 6 months, 1 year, in the grand scheme of an 800-year-old sign that we are currently dealing with right now, every day anyway, is not the end of the world. This is, and when I
If it's
think,
not, then
when
what's
I
the
think
issue?
about that, I thought we had $100,000 in that account, not nearly $300,000. And a potential grant coming from the state in multiple $100,000, and we're a third of the way to science labs. Like, every $10,000, every $50,000, every $100,000 has to be part of our planning right now that we need to finish. I'm saying that we need to finish that planning, and then let's come back to it.
I find the situation really complicated. I find it really hard. And I think that we knew when we lost the second time we lost the referendum, we knew then that really, really hard decisions were coming. And this might not be the first one. I understand what you're saying, Adina. I do. I think that to tell people, to anyone who wants to help this district through a donation, that, you know, if it's not for this, we don't want your help. I think that's a horrible message to send. I don't think that's this case. I don't think that's this case. I think that's a little bit different. But it's true. Like, this is absolutely not what I signed up for when I decided to become a board member. When I ran to become a board member, I want to help educators do their job. I don't want to tell educators what to do. I want to help them to achieve their goals. And this recommendation comes to us from a group of educators. So I can't think of anything that I want to say no to less than this request. I can't think of one thing that I would want to look at an educator and say, no, I think I know better what's better for your school than you do. It's not in my rubric. My personal guiding rubric doesn't have that language in it. And yet, because I'm a board member, because I'm an elected board member, I have to do what is right for the district as a whole, and I have to make decisions that sometimes I don't even want to make. Like, I have to do them. And this feels very much like one of them. This feels very much like, do I like the sign we have? No. Do I want to support our educators? Yes. But is this where we are with our money in this district right now? I don't think we are. I don't think we are. And I hate that that's the fact. I hate that I have to be the one on the watchtower whenever this crap happens in our district. Because we don't have the money to do the things we know we should be doing. We have to put Band-Aids on things. We have to continue to hobble around because we don't have the support of this community to do what's right in this community. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. But I agree with Leah. I think the timing is horrible. I think the timing is horrible for this.
I think part of that also, and I don't know if it speaks to you, but this request didn't come from the board, like you said. You said this came from a group of teachers. I think it sends the wrong message if we were like, this is what we want to do. And we don't do that, right? Like, we say we're in the balconies and we're watching all these things. I think we have PTOs and boosters that go out and get a lot of wants. They don't have to do it necessarily at our approval. I think there's some things they have to do, like the junior high who did it, you know. But I don't know if that helps you with this. This isn't something that, because we are working on these high things, and I think we still can. I think we can still make those difficult decisions. We have enough of them. I don't think this should have been part of our difficult decision. This came from teachers as something that they wanted to do for their school and through a fund that was donated. And I thought that was easy. We still have work to do. We still have things to set. We still have difficult decisions to make about what's cut and not. And this doesn't, to me, needed to be a part of it. This came from the teachers. This came from a committee of that were involved. So I just want to say that to the community. This wasn't our ask as a board. We've never talked about, hey, guys, let's talk about the signs. We don't talk about it across the board at any of our schools. But, there are going to be some things that students, teachers ask for that are not needs, that I think we can say yes to and keep working in our hard jobs, so.
I respect that.
I may be mistaken, but I kind of think the spirit of the trust is to buy a piano for the school, buy a large-scale printer. I think a sign is included in that. I don't think the spirit is to work on the infrastructure of the building, so I think it's the first thing you see when you pull up to Westmont High School is an old sign. I think it would help inform the public of what our message to the community is with a new sign. I understand. I'm in favor of it, to be honest, so.
I would like to make a comment after all the board gets a chance.
Nothing else to say.
So, I'm trying to be pithy, but there's a lot at stake here. With a lot going on here. As Carlos said, it's complicated. The reason it was tabled is because we had to get a legal opinion as to whose decision it is. It's clear it's the board's decision. The other thing we had to clear was, is it something that is deemed for educational purposes? Even though some see it as a little bit of a stretch, the attorney said, yes, it is. So the board could approve this if they so choose to. And I have tremendous faith that the board is going to do what they believe is best. That's what they've always done, and I so respect this board. There are more pressing needs in the district. There's no question about that. But the Hackbrush Fund is not the source to address these needs, as Kevin was partly alluding to here. The funds can only be used at WHS. That is one of the very clear things about the Hackbrush Fund. The committee has been very diligent in their work over the last few years, led by people who went to Westmont High School, have spent their whole career here, and who knew Jerry Hackbrush. The science labs would cost at a minimum $5 million. This sign is $47,000. That's not even going to put a dent into it. As Kevin said, the first thing that people see, thousands of visitors, whether it's athletic events or conferences, is that sign. It sends a message. It's a point of pride. If you prorate this over the life of the sign, getting a quality sign versus a mediocre sign is about $1 a day, and it is the first thing that people see. To clear up some things, the PTO did not pay for the sign at the junior high. That's a rumor out there. It's not true. The district paid for it. The suggestion that's been made has already been part of the plan, that Jerry Hackbrush's name would be affixed to the sign to give her credit for what she's done. That's a very visible way of thanking somebody who gave the district $250,000. So I know everybody's going to vote their conscience and what they think is best. And I do want to say too, our finances in this district, look at the metrics. We're going to spend over $30 million towards educating our students in the upcoming year. We will make reductions that will allow us to keep excellence in education, but get a balanced budget. That will happen. And we have significant fund balances. We are in good financial shape in this district. And I am optimistic that on the 10th, we will present plans, the entire range, from no referendum to a referendum, that the board can take under advisement and make a decision about what's best interest of the community. But I want to say that I'm going to respect the decision of the board. It's your decision. There we have it.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to action items. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the purchase of an electronic sign from Sign Outlet utilizing the Hackbrush Trust in the amount of $47,715,000 as presented.
So move.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Horman,
Yes.
Mr. Avia,
No.
Dr. Hoover,
Yes.
Ms. Franklin,
Yes.
Ms. Conover,
No.
Ms. Mill,
No.
Mr. Marin.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Second action item, approval of an extension Approval of extension and amended superintendent contract. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the extension and amendment of Superintendent Jack Balderman's contract. As such, the new contract will be valid from July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2030 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Avia?
Yes.
Dr. Hoover?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Conover?
Yes.
Ms. Mill?
Yes.
Mr. Marin?
Yes.
Mr. Orman?
Yes.
Okay, superintendent's report.
I asked Mr. Joe Smith to come forward. I want him to tell the story because there was some buzz in social media about the temperature situation at the high school. The story that needs to be told is how our custodial staff was here over the frigid weekend checking on things, and because of their diligence, they actually made it possible for the schools to be open on Monday. And yes, we faced challenges. And were there a few rooms that were cold? Yes. Overall, and there were concerns raised, so much so that the fire department had to come out to the building and give a blessing that the school remained open, and they did so. So it was less than ideal conditions, but this is frigid out recently. So I want Joe to come and tell briefly the story about what's going on, about what happened, what transpired.
Yeah, so it was a very cold weekend. Usually when we see temps like this, I lose sleep waiting for the phone to ring. This year, the high school, so Friday going into the weekend, we lost the 3 boilers in the auditorium section. So at the high school, we have 2 sets of boilers. We have 3 primary boilers and 1 backup boiler. In the auditorium side, we lost all 3 of our primaries. So Carl was there Friday night trying to get them going, could not. Saturday.
Can I break, what went out in all 3? Like what, I don't know if that's an easy question to ask.
Oh, I can get to that. So,
Okay.
So Friday we had a situation with water pressure. We got water back into the system. We got some heat then, but not enough. Saturday night, continued going through it, could not get it. So Sunday we had a company come out. They started going through it, could not get the 3 main to come on. It was a gas pressure issue where some of them were tripping on different gas pressures. So we could not get that set on. He shifted his focus to the backup boiler to get that up so that we had some heat. That gave us enough heat to get through the night and into the morning. We had a second company come out. They were able to get those boilers back up around noon, and then things quickly came back after that. Outside of that, we had issues at South School that Dave Smith, during a building check, realized that we had no water pressure. We had a frozen water line in the boiler room. Again, kind of just because of the temperatures, there's essentially a window in the boiler room that has to open when the boilers come on. It's to make up air in the room. That is directly in between the domestic water line coming into the building. So that froze solid from that being open for the boiler to run. So he got heat tape, we affixed it to the water line to thaw it out, and again, prevented, it could have been a frozen water line, or a bursted water line. Again, all weekend, kind of the guys, when we have weather like this, they kind of know what to deal with. Again, we've been dealing this for years like this. It's just kind of, we know what to expect. We know where our weak points are. A couple years back, we had weather like this during Christmas break, and we had a sprinkler line broke on Christmas Eve. It was unbelievable. Again, it's just the team knows what to do. They're ready to do it, and they do it year after year. You know.
There's a few main reasons why I want, because coming from Joe is going to be better coming from me. He knows more of the details in case the board has any questions. My real points are these, though. They worked all weekend long to make sure school could be open. And sometimes they're the unsung heroes, you know. They're not just keeping the buildings clean. They're making it possible for us to have education. So I'm very grateful to Joe and all of his team for being proactive, taking care of it. Were there a few cold classrooms? Yes. Do I think there was an overreaction in our community? I actually do. The fire department came to confirm that.
Yeah.
And there were some classrooms that were not good for education, but the bulk of the high school was ready for education because of the diligence of the custodial staff and Joe. The interesting thing, though, is that the high school has a backup system, If this had happened at Manning, we would not have been able to be open. Joe, can you explain that quickly?
Yeah, so
Because
some
the
of-
high school has a backup boiler system that allowed us to be able to go to
Right.
and then keep the school open on Monday. If this had occurred at Manning,
Right.
go ahead,
So
please.
in some of that, I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of it is luck. Some of it is also, the past few years, we've put a lot of money into Band-Aids of that building at Manning. A lot of money has been spent in the last 4 years keeping this building available while we're going through this entire conversation. This has been a 4 to 5 year process. Through that, we've had to do a lot of emergency repairs at Manning. We've had to do a lot of maintenance. You could call it lipstick on a pig is what we always refer to it, where we're spending this money at this building to keep it going. Part of that is, keeping it where we don't have an issue over the weekend. But another part of that is luck. At the high school, we do have a system where we have redundancy. So we have primary boilers, we have a backup boiler. We have that in 2 sections of the building. The building's kind of split in half. At Manning, we have 2 boilers. We have one boiler that we've spent a lot of money to ensure that it's somewhat consistent. The other boiler is not there. And if we have to rely on that boiler, we are in a situation where if that boiler goes down, we don't have a way to get another one going. We have to get that up almost immediately. With the secondary boiler at Manning, though, some parts on it we cannot deal with immediately. We got lucky with the main boiler there a few years back with buying parts off of one that was taken off of a boiler. Because of the age of it, you can't get something new, you have to get a takeoff part. Again, we got lucky in that situation, and that's kind of helped us continue to get through this process. Again, with that system though, with it being a steam system, kind of once it's generating steam and continuing to, that's much easier to maintain. But if it goes down, it is a monster to deal with. And again, with certain stuff there, we can't get replacement parts for.
So what's the status at the high school now with the
So
3?
we were able to get 2 of the 3 main boilers back up. One of them was a faulty gas valve, so it kept tripping in there. The other one was locked up. So we got both of those back up and running, and we've been fine since. The 3rd boiler needs parts, we're waiting for that to come in. But again, even with the high school system, those 3 boilers, when we're up and running like we've been, we can run off one of those. So we don't necessarily have to run off 3. We only need that when it's this cold and the building gets chilly and we need to catch up. Once we're up to temperature, we can run off of 1 on each side and manage things. But we don't have that other places. The junior high we do with the system we have there, kind of an unbelievable system. We've, in the long run, saved a lot of money doing that project. And again, you're putting it in, you're doing it right, you're putting in redundancy. We have backup pumps, we have backup boilers. It's, how are you supposed to do it? South and Manning, we have 1 boiler. So again, if something goes down with the 1 boiler we have at South or at Miller, we don't have anything until we can get that back up.
So we'd have to cancel school. Are there any questions for the board from Joe? For Joe?
I would like to explain the fire departments. So the chief came to the building as a response to what they were getting calls on and seeing on social media. A lot of the buzz was coming from, he rattled them all off, what different Facebook groups are, or what, was kind of causing the chaos, but that's why they showed up. And they were specific about that as, we're seeing this, we're seeing the commotion, we want to kind of see what it is and what's going on. And
So the high school didn't call?
No, to my knowledge, the high school did not call. They came because of reports that they were seeing online and what the overall reaction to it was. Now, I'm not going to say the building wasn't cold. At that time, we did have water temps up to about 100 degrees, so we were getting some heat in the building. We had some exterior classrooms in the low 60s, We had others in like the mid-60s, closer to the middle of the building. Once we got the other 2 boilers back up around 11:30 noon, it took about a half hour to get things back up to temp and get the building warm. That center section of the high school is very difficult because of how big it is and just the system, but they did. They came through, they wanted to see the classrooms, they wanted to go through where is it the coldest. We kind of walked them through both academic sides. They agreed that this is chilly, but this is not cancel school worthy. Their big focus was, if you need a place for a classroom to go, do you have that? Is the building safe? Are the boilers operating? Is the building at risk of freezing? They were all involved when the sprinkler line froze as well. It was kind of like an event for all of us. So it was like they were even reaching out ahead of it. Are you guys okay? Are you ready? I mean, they were kind of great in the situation. And again, just making sure that everything that they were reading online was not what it was in reality.
Why didn't they at least delay the start of the school day to make sure that the temperatures at least came up?
I will take responsibility for that. I thought with getting some heat Sunday night, I thought we were going to be in better shape Monday morning. Again, I think making a call that late kind of puts parents in a tough spot with childcare, XYZ. There's a lot that goes into that.
But it was the high school, right? I mean, or was
Yeah.
it? Yes.
Yeah, only the high school. I want to tell you, we have some students here, but, I mean, low 60s is not ideal,
Right.
but
Maybe just, I think maybe the lesson here is, we're having an issue all weekend long.
Right.
Let's let the school community know we're having an issue. We let them know on Thursday morning that we were looking at the temps. Let's just get as proactive as we can, right? Hey, we think we're going to be fine on Monday, school's going to be open on Monday, and also we're having a boiler problem. We're trying our best to solve it. But, so the building might be cool in the morning. We're doing our best, right? Like just getting ahead of that. I think that's the lesson here. But I think you guys worked your butts off all weekend long and getting it all together so that we still had school, right? Like it's our message, guys, right? Like, how do we message? How do we communicate? It's not ever how much effort people are putting into it, because our people, you guys, everybody, put their whole heart and soul into it. Let's just, get out ahead of it next time and, hey, heads up.
You made
Chilly on Monday
Might
morning.
be chilly on Monday, wear an extra
coat.
layer, right? But we're having school.
And then we had the snow on top of all of that.
Yes.
Could I just ask one quick question with that? What time did they come, the fire department?
The fire department showed up like 9-ish, like 8:30, 9-ish.
Okay, so towards the start, okay.
Yeah.
And gave that,
Yeah.
their blessing, okay.
Right.
and deemed there wasn't an issue worthy of,
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks to you and your whole crew for
Yeah.
Thank you,
working
Joe.
the whole weekend and
Thank you, thank
going
you.
above and beyond. Yes.
Thanks, Joe.
Very quickly, we have finance and facilities on the 10th. We hope everybody can attend that, anybody who's listening or interested. And we have been working diligently as a leadership team to put together a range of options as requested by the board, everything from zero referendum to possible referendum opportunities to meet the needs of the district. At that same time, we're going to show you our tentative plans to address the budget issues, to maintain excellence in education while maintaining a balanced budget.
Board reports.
I just want to give a shout out to the junior high wrestling team. The junior high wrestling team won against Thomas Jefferson Middle School last night. It's the first time that school has been beaten in a dual match in 8 years. And we crushed them. And I want to thank Coach Dave Wiesbrock, who has done a phenomenal job with those kids all year long. And I want him to know that his work is not going unrecognized.
Any other board reports? Okay, future meetings and events. Our Finance and Facilities Committee meeting is February 10th, 5:30 here at Village Hall, followed up by our next COSD 201 regular meeting of the Board of Education, February 10th, 6:30 p.m. at Village Hall. And then we have a SIP dismissal day on February 11th. Check with your buildings for times.
And temperatures.
The board will now entertain, The chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session to conduct a board self-evaluation with an IASB representative.
So moved.
Roll call.
Dr. Hoover.
Yes.
Ms. Franklin.
Yes.
Ms. Conover.
Yes?
Ms. Mill.
Yes.
Mr. Marin.
Yes.
Mr. Orman.
Yes.
Mr. Avia.
Yes.
Motion passes, and just to be clear, there will be no action when we return from this closed session. We will just close the meeting. To adjourn the January 27th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Education.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I had it so moved off earlier.
Yes.